Hi there, Mark Bilgier with Bilgier Insurance. Hey, if you're just now turning 65, or if you delayed your Medicare because you were going to work a few years longer and you're just now getting into your Part B Medicare, going to give up those employee benefits, you have a great opportunity where you get to select, hey, do I want traditional Medicare? Do I want to add a Medicare supplement to that? Or do I want to add an Advantage plan to help fill some of those gaps that Medicare has? Well, I want to give you just a quick couple of things to remember and then give you one real life example, because I like giving you real life examples how one might work different than the other. Neither one's better, neither one's worse all the time. Depends on your situation. Sometimes it's not the situation you're in, but a situation you get into. So here's something to remember first. Number one, Medigap, Medicare supplement. Same things. A lot of us use different terms for the same exact thing. Medicare is notorious for calling the same thing 3 different names, and it's very confusing. Number two, along the same lines, Advantage Plan and Part C are the exact same thing. They aren't different. Part C is not a part provided by the government. It's private insurance provided by private insurance companies that combine Part A, Part B, and usually Part D. There's some plans without it. You have to talk to your broker and they'll explain that to you in great detail. And if they don't, find another one. So one of the best advantages of when you're first getting into Medicare, whether you're 65 or 67, 68, whatever it is, but the first time you're getting in, is you have what's called a guarantee issue period. And the guarantee issue period lets you get into a Medicare supplement with no underwriting. That is, no health questions. They can't ask about any previous existing or pre-existing conditions. They don't ask about the medications you're taking. Basically, your zip code, your age, your gender, and if you smoke or not. Smoking always gets you a higher price on just about any insurance nowadays. But that's all they can ask you at that time. So even if you're currently sick, even if you're going through cancer treatment, or you've had a stroke, or you've had a heart attack, doesn't matter. You're guaranteed at that time. 6 months later, you've given that up. Now you have to answer the health underwriting questions, and you may get in, you may not, just depends on the answers that you give. So here's the real life example how it worked. My mom, when she first got into Medicare, she and my dad both chose Medicare supplements to add to their traditional Medicare. At the time, you could still get Plan F. Plan F was, everybody called that the Cadillac plan. Now they call Plan G the Cadillac plan, because Plan F, you can't get in unless you were 65 before 2020. So some people could still get it now, but fewer and fewer every year. Biggest difference, it paid their Part B deductible. Plan G doesn't, Part F did. It's the only difference between those two. So Part G people aren't really missing out that much because the cost difference now is usually more than that deductible anyway. So it wouldn't be any good to get into it now anyway. So when she first got into it, she was pretty healthy. I mean, she got hers at 65 and didn't have any real health problems. No big concerns. They were just thinking about the future. My dad was a really good planner and always worried about what could happen. A pretty conservative guy. Well, several years later, my mom did get cancer. She was diagnosed with cancer. And at this time, I was living in Texas. My parents were living in Nebraska. And if you ever grew up in the North or the Midwest, you know the winters are really cold and they're pretty miserable, especially if you're older and all your kids have moved away. It's just a drag. So they would come live with us for anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks every winter. And then the other bonus for them was, since I was their youngest, my kids were their youngest grandkids, and they were little at the time. So grandma used to love to come down, stay with us for a long period of time. On the short end, 8 weeks. On the long end, 12 weeks. And they kept it open-ended because they could drive it still. And so they didn't have to have tickets because they weren't flying. They could just do whatever they wanted. Everybody loved it. I loved it. My wife loved it. My parents loved it. The boys loved it, although now they don't really remember it, but they loved it at the time. The problem that she could have run into was she had completed her cancer treatment, and the doctor said she was okay to travel, but the doctor needed her to go have labs and blood work every 4 weeks. Well, if she wants to stay a minimum of 8, that's at least one time. Somewhere in there she's going to have to go. And if she wants to stay 10 or 12, probably going to have to do it at least 2 times. Well, she's not going to drive back to Nebraska for blood work. So what she did, since she had a supplement, she was able to come to Texas, found an oncologist she wanted to work with, had the oncologist in Nebraska send a note, here's what we need. Oncologist knew exactly what it was, just had to make sure they're on the same page exactly. Mom built a new team here, new cancer team down here in Texas, had the results sent up to Omaha. Her oncologist up there was great, oncologist here was great. When they eventually went home, everything was just perfect. Fortunately, at that time, her tumor markers came back good, and she beat it that time. That's a second story later on. You ever get cancer, you could get it again, even if you beat it the first time. And there'll be another story about that. I like to do a lot of real life stories for you. Anyway, that's an advantage. How could that apply to you? Well, if you have a second home and you think, we want to live part of the year in one place and part of the year in another place, juggling advantage plans could be a real hassle if that's the situation. If you have kids or grandkids that you like to go stay with for extended times, that could be an advantage also of having those Medicare supplements. Not to say you can't work with advantage plans, but it's much easier to do it with supplements. And if you're in a PPO, remember you get 2 max out of pockets. And the national maximum is $9,350 this year on an HMO, $13,000, a little over $13,000 on a PPO, and those are separate. So you could reach your in-network where you live of $9,300, and then when you travel, still hit the other one that's $13,000. So now you're over $20,000 in max out of pocket, where there's no way you're going to pay that much for a supplement to have the premium. So who's going to help you with this? An independent broker that handles several carriers of both advantage plans, both Medicare supplements, and cancer plans. That's something you may want to think about. Anyway, if you have more questions, send us an email at info@BillGare Insurance. We answer all the questions that get sent to us. I'm not in all 50 states yet. I'm working on it, but I know people in all 50 states that could help you. And if you ask us for help and we can't do it, I'll refer you to somebody that can. They'll take great care of you. Thanks.